Welcome to week 4 of the Underrated Game of the Week, where we feature a game where two G5 teams face off and you should be watching as the entertainment value will be high. This week, UTSA takes on Colorado State in what should be an exciting matchup on Fox Sports 1 Saturday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Gotta love that. I love a late game. The total in this one, 58.5. The line, UTSA favored by 4.5. Why do we want to watch this game? Both teams have really struggled in non-conference play, but feature offenses that have experienced signal callers. This game is a turning point in the season for both teams. A win really sets them up for a run in conference play, while a loss likely shakes their confidence so much that they could go into a downward spiral with the potential to even miss a bowl game here. On the UTSA side, after losses to Texas A&M and Texas State, two offenses that did not struggle to put up points. Neither one of those offenses is going to struggle any given week. The Roadrunners really bounced back with a win over a high-powered FCS offense in Incarnate Word. Incarnate Word does not get enough credit for their quarterback and offensive development. We've seen it. That's where Cam Ward started. They've had repeated guys that could really put up numbers at quarterback there. Quarterback Owen McCown, he's picked up where he left off last season, taking care of the football and showing a good connection with his wide receivers. As expected, he struggled at Texas A&M, but he bounced back with 6 touchdown passes over the last 2 weeks. He is a very quality G5 quarterback with a good amount of experience. On the outside with his weapons, Devin McCune, he's maintained his status as the top option. Some question as to where David Amador is. He's a little banged up. We're waiting to see whether he's going to be good to go or not. That will be an important piece to this passing offense. Tight end Houston Thomas is performing as expected. I do like him. He's a good weapon for them. And then A.J. Wilson's really been the surprise of the early portion of the season. He's second on the team in receiving right now. That's largely due to Amador's injury issues. The run game, though, has been the story for this team, as Robert Henry has been an absolute monster on the ground. Let's just look at these stat lines right quick. 177 yards and 2 touchdowns against Texas A&M. That was unbelievable. And then he followed it up with 159 and 2, including a third touchdown through the air against Texas State. Not a terrible Texas State team. And then 144 and 2 against Incarnate Word. His best game was against Texas A&M. His worst game was against Incarnate Word. It's kind of backwards in this situation. But still, the man has over 140 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in every game this season. That's insane. That tells me that the line play on the offensive side of the football has been absolutely stellar when you look at those rushing numbers. But then when you look at their sacks allowed so far, they've only given up 2. You would have expected A&M to be able to get home more than that on their own, much less Texas State or Incarnate Word to be able to get there every once in a while. On the other side of the ball, the defense has absolutely struggled. They have faced 3 high-powered offenses, as I mentioned, and Texas A&M hung a similar number on Notre Dame, but it's the performances against Texas State is concerning, giving up 43. And losses when you score 36 points are absolutely unacceptable. Maybe they turned a corner last week, but I'm going to need to see it this week on the road against this Colorado State offense. Linebacker Shad Banks, he's really gotten off to a hot start, leading the team with tackles with 21. And he's making plays in the passing game with 2 interceptions. So he's kind of the key contributor to this defense at the moment. They're going to need to stop the run here and get after the passer after building a lead. 5 sacks through these 3 games with 2 more pass-heavy team. 2 of these teams are very pass-heavy. I wouldn't call A&M pass-heavy. But the other 2 are very pass-leaning. I think that could be improved upon. You might want to be able to get home to the quarterback a little more, especially in positive game scripts if you can get out to a lead here. On the Colorado State side, the loss at Washington was respectable, but struggling with Northern Colorado was a completely different story. Now coming out of a bye week, I expect Coach Jay Norvell to have rubbed their faces fully in that poor performance to have them ready to go here. For a guy in his third year as a starter and reportedly had the big NIL offers after his first year as a starter, those were a complete farce. Braden Fowler Nicolosi, he sure has not looked the part. There were even reports he might get replaced as a starter here. I don't know. I think they stick with him. And the pass catching options are not what they were. But still, if he is who people thought he was, then he should be able to elevate the play of the guys on the outside. Certainly more than he has. Speaking of those pass catchers, Jackson Warren at tight end is an absolute unit at 6'8", 240, and I think he's in line for a massive season. Norvell has featured the tight end plenty in his past. I believe it was Cole Turner at Nevada before, and then you had a couple tight ends that got featured at Colorado State once he first got there. But then the wide receivers really kind of took over, but this cast of wide receivers is absolutely terrible. Long gone are the days of Torrey Horton and Justice Ross Simmons, who's now excelling at Syracuse. And Torrey Horton caught a touchdown for the Seahawks last week. With the lack of outside weapons, I think this is a fully run-based offense at this point with a three-headed monster back there. Jalen Dupree, clear top option. He's had double-digit carries in both games. But I do think Lloyd Avant and Justin Marshall are each solid runners in their own right, and they are capable of being the top option in this offense if needed. So they can really turn to any of these guys and kind of ride the hot hand each week. The defensive side of the ball, linebacker Owen Long, he leads the stingy defense that held Devon Williams in check for the most part, as best you can. But they really did struggle with the Huskies' run game. Jonah Coleman absolutely destroyed them. This is a unit that's going to keep them in games, but how much support they get from the offense is really the question here. Overall thoughts on this game? I think this has all the makings of a ground and pound game where each team's going to want to establish the run while the defense's goal will be to stop it. Colorado State has the best chance of being able to do so, as I believe they have the better defense, and playing at home will help them. But UTSA has a much more capable passing offense than the Rams do. The conundrum here is that I trust the UTSA offense more, but I also trust the Colorado State defense. So, it's a one-sided affair where UTSA offense versus Colorado State defense. Where do I want to go? I would say give me the dynamic Roadrunners offense on the road to get it done. And I think they cover the 4.5 points.